Hello friends and family, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. My name's Tom, my wife Melissa is behind the camera today. We are almost to New Year's, and on New Year's Eve, if you're young enough to stay up and watch the ball drop at midnight, and I'll just be honest, sometimes we don't make it, but it is nice if you're up till midnight to have some snacks and things just to munch on. And this is one of our favorites. Today we're going to make sausage balls. Now, I'm going to tell you that my recipe for sausage balls is very different than most sausage ball recipes you're going to find. Because most people put a lot of Bisquick or a lot of flour in theirs as a filler, and I just don't like that. When I started teaching 40 years ago, I had an assistant in my classroom who loved making sausage balls and bringing them to me as a treat. And I ate every single one of them and never liked any of them. I just don't care for that bready texture in the sausage balls. So, many years ago, actually when I was doing a low-carb diet, I put together a recipe for sausage balls that didn't use flour or Bisquick or any of those fillers. And I know it's very different from what most people make. It also does not have cheese in it. But I think they're really good. I like the flavor, and they're perfect for dipping. So after you get them made, you can put any kind of dipping sauce with them that you want. They're good with ranch, honey mustard, barbecue. You can even take jams and jellies and heat them just a little and use those to dip in. Apple jelly is wonderful with these. Pineapple preserves, heat that a little bit. It's really good with these. Of course, pineapple and pork go together really well. Apple and pork go together really well. So you can put just about any dipping sauce you want to with these if you want to dip them. Let's talk about what you're going to need to make Tom's sausage balls. Now, I'm going to triple the recipe for us today because we're going to eat a few, but we're going to freeze most of them. You can put this together, roll out your sausage balls, put them on a parchment paper lined cookie sheet, stick them in the freezer, let them freeze until they're solid, and then put them in Ziploc baggies or freezer bags. You can even put them in vacuum sealed bags, and they keep in the freezer really well. And that's what we're going to do. With most of these, we will freeze them, put them in freezer bags, and stick them in the freezer. And we'll use what we want to for New Year's Eve, and the rest we'll have over the next few weeks. And you can just take out as many as you want, a few at a time, put them on a cookie sheet or in a baking dish and bake them, and they will be really good. All right, here's what you're going to need. For the regular recipe, for a single recipe, you're going to need 1 pound of sausage. Now, I'm tripling it, so I've got 3 pounds. And you're probably looking at this saying, oh, that looks really different. Yeah, it does. This is a pound of Tennessee Pride. These two are some sausage from a hog that we had processed. We had butchered and processed by a Mennonite family that lives here near us. They do a really good job processing meat. And I had these 3 in my freezer, and we're trying to clean out our freezer. We're trying to use up some stuff we have. And so I've got all 3 of those. Yes, this one looks different from these 2, but it's just because it's Tennessee Pride, and these are straight from the hog. You're also going to need 1/3 cup of chopped up water chestnuts. Now, I know that water chestnuts is kind of a specialty item, and not a lot of people use water chestnuts, but we really like them because of the crunch. I don't feel like they have a lot of flavor. They do have some, but not a lot of flavor. But we like the crunch of them in the sausage balls. And you can see that I have chopped those up a little bit. When you get them out of the can, you can see here in the picture that they come in round slices, but I just chopped them up a little bit so that they're not so large in the sausage balls. Then I put in 1/4 of a cup of chopped craisins. Now, craisins are just dried cranberries. And I just put those in my food processor and chop them up a little bit. And they give the sausage balls a really good flavor. Cranberries and pork go really well together. So 1/4 cup in a single recipe of my sausage balls. Of course, I have tripled that amount. Now, for the seasonings, you're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of basil leaves, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and then just a really big pinch of chili powder. If you're not comfortable doing a pinch, then maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon. And that's all the chili powder we put in it because we don't like something extremely hot. If you want something hotter, you could either put more chili powder or put in a few shakes of hot sauce. You know, whatever your favorite hot sauce is. Put in a few shakes of that.
Or use a hot dip when you dip them.
Yeah, or use a hot dip when you dip them at the end. Use something that's got some spice to it. But we like the flavor. We want a little bit of flavor in it, so I do use a pinch of chili powder, but we don't go overboard with it because we're not... Actually, we really do like spicy stuff.
It's like hot spicy though.
We don't like hot spicy, but we like spicy stuff. But my stomach just doesn't handle it very well anymore. Then, you're not going to put paprika in it, but you will sprinkle paprika over the top of your sausage balls when you're ready to bake them. I probably would not put that on, well, I don't put that on, before I freeze them. So the ones I'm going to stick in the freezer today to freeze, I will not put paprika on until I'm ready to bake them. But when you're ready to put them in the oven, just sprinkle some paprika. I don't know how much. I don't measure. I just open the lid and you can see it's got some holes in the top of it. And I just sprinkle it on there. Just whatever you want. It gives it a really good flavor. And smoky paprika gives it a little bit of spice too. Now, you can mix this up in your mixer if you want. I've done that several times. It works, but the pork tends to stick to the beaters. I've tried it with a handheld mixer. That doesn't work very well because it's just not strong enough to break up the pork. The best way to do it is to use your fingers. Just make sure you go to your sink and you scrub your hands really well before. I know you know that. So all we're going to do is dump all this in and start squishing it together. So we've got our sausage. In goes our water chestnuts. Now in a single recipe, it's just 1/3 of a cup. And that's about a can, maybe just a little less than a can. But honestly, when I'm making one batch of it, I put in a whole can of water chestnuts. And I think, is that a 5-ounce can, Melissa? Is that what that says? If we had our glasses.
I was going to say, I'm struggling here. I think it says 8 ounces.
8 ounce, maybe. I don't know. It's just a can of water chestnuts. Okay.
If you'd go across the street and hold it, I could probably read it. But
yeah.
Right here in front of me, not so much.
Okay, so in goes our chopped up craisins. And then here are our spices, our basil, onion powder, garlic powder, and chili powder. Those just go in. Get it all in there. Let that flavor. Set that down. And here we go. This is not my favorite part, but honestly, I don't mind it. I wish it worked a little better with like my KitchenAid. And it does. You can do it that way. I just feel like you get a better mix if you do it with your hands. There aren't many things that I mix up with my hands, but this is one of them. So, you'll have some of your craisins and your water chestnuts down in the bottom that really don't want to mix in. You'll just have to pick those up and force them in there.
I know I say this a lot, but it already smells good.
What are you smelling?
I'm sure this combination of the spices.
That's exactly what it is.
It's nice.
It does smell good, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that's what you're smelling. I don't think you're smelling the water chestnuts.
No.
Or, well, maybe the craisins. Craisins
I don't think
smell
so.
really good.
It's a spicy smell.
Yeah, it is. Now, you just want to make sure that it's all squished together so that you don't get a sausage ball without some craisins in it or without some water chestnuts.
Or the seasonings.
Or the seasonings, right. You just want to make sure it's mixed up well. And you're not going to be able to get every little water chestnut mixed in perfectly, but, you know, there's 4 right there. Let's push those babies in. Get in there. All right. So, there's our mixture. And we will scoop those out. Now, we're going to eat a few of these, but most of these are going into the freezer. So, let me run to the sink and scrub my hands before we start scooping them out. My hands are clean. I got the pork off. Now we're going to scoop out our sausage balls. Now, I like to use a cookie scoop. The reason is that if they're all the same size, if your sausage balls are all the same size, they will bake at the same rate. You won't have some that are bigger and take longer to bake and some that are smaller and get overdone by the time the big ones are done. So if you'll use a cookie scoop, it does help kind of even out the baking time.
What size scoop is that?
I don't know, 24, I don't know. It's a small scoop. It's not a very big scoop. I scoop all of mine onto the paper, and then I come back and roll them. That way I'm not getting my hands covered with pork between each one that I scoop. So at least I keep my scooping hand clean. And it goes pretty quick when you're using a cookie scoop like this. Sometimes you have to clean the edges off, but it's okay. Now, I know what people are going to say. Well, those aren't sausage balls. Those are meatballs. Well, it's made out of sausage, and I'm forming them into balls. So, it's a sausage ball. It's not like a meatball that you would put in, you know, spaghetti and meatballs or something. So, it's my version of a sausage ball. And like I said earlier, I really came up with this recipe because I was doing a low-carb diet. And I needed something that I could have for a snack. If I remember correctly, I made it first time because I was going to a New Year's Eve party. And they were telling people to bring snacks, bring this, bring that. And I thought, okay, I've just started this diet. I'm trying to lose weight. What am I going to eat while I'm there? They're going to have chips and salsa and all kinds of good things. And I'm going to be standing there watching everybody else eat. So I came up with this and a few other things that I could eat and took them with me. And actually the people there loved them. You wouldn't have really even known that I fixed them because they were low carb. Okay, I'm going to roll a few of these just to show you, even though I normally scoop them all out before I start rolling. But I'll roll them out and show you how I do it. You just pick them up. Now, honestly, if you'll wet your hands, makes it a little easier. Just pick them up, roll them, form them into a ball. Roll, roll, roll. Just takes a few times. Form them into a ball. Put them right back on your cookie sheet. Now, I am going to bake a few of these. And you can see I'm putting them on a rack. You can do it two ways. You can put them on a rack like this. And I do put parchment paper down because I don't like to clean up. Makes it easier to clean up. You can put them on a rack like this and bake them at 350 for about 30 minutes. You can tell when they're done. It will take around 30 minutes. Or you can skip the rack and just put them directly on your cookie sheet. I would use parchment paper, but you can just put them directly on the cookie sheet and let them bake without the rack. But if you do that, you need to bake them 15 minutes, drain off any grease, and then put them back in to finish baking for the last 15 minutes. If you don't do that, they're going to lay there and kind of cook in their own grease. So you probably 3, 6, 9. You think 10's enough for us today?
I think that's plenty.
Okay. So we will get these in the oven for 30 minutes. And I'm going to finish scooping out and rolling the rest of our sausage mixture. When I've got them all on this cookie sheet, we'll put it in the freezer, let them freeze hard. And then this evening, sometime when they're frozen solid, I'll transfer them to freezer bags or vacuum sealed bags and put them in the freezer. All right, we'll be back when we bring these out of the oven and let you see what they look like. Our sausage balls have been in for almost 30 minutes. The timer's getting ready to go off, but I wanted to show you that these are the sausage balls I made with the mixture we put together. Altogether, I got 41 sausage balls, and that was out of a triple batch. So a single batch is going to give you somewhere between 12 and 14, depending, of course, on the size you make them. Now, I used the cookie scoop, and I did measure it. Melissa asked me in the video earlier about the cookie scoop I was using. I didn't have a clue what size it was. So I took a tablespoon and measured it, and it's a 3 tablespoon scoop. All right. There's our sausage balls. Let's get those out. And there you go. Let's plate those out. So it looks a little nicer. They do shrink just a little, but not too bad. You can see the nice thing about having the rack, ooh, they are hot. The nice thing about having the rack is that, number one, you don't have to turn them. And number two, all that grease drips below them, so they're not greasy at all.
These are really nice for parties or games. Or
yeah, if you're watching the Kentucky Wildcats play basketball or football, it's a nice little snack to have.
Super Bowl's coming soon.
Right. New Year's Eve, Super Bowl, ball games.
Championship football games.
Just a Friday night family game night. You got to have some snacks. So one batch, the recipe that we're going to put on, will make about 12 to 14. I got about, 13, almost 14 would have been out of one batch. I got 41, 42 out of a triple batch. So that's pretty good just for an appetizer plate. And this recipe is so easy to double, triple, quadruple, whatever you want to do. And it's really nice that you can freeze them. These are going to go in the freezer, and we will bag these up, and we'll have them for weeks. You know, that'll be at least another 3 bakings probably for us, at least 3 more times.
Depends on how big the party is.
Well, I mean, if it's just you and me, we'll eat 4 or 5 each. So now I have got some apple jelly. I got some apple jelly out, and I got some mint jelly out. And I just heated those in the microwave for, I don't know, 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, I think. Just, you don't want them hot and runny. You want it to stick to your sausage balls. And honestly, you don't have to serve any dipping sauce. They're good by themselves. But if you want a dipping sauce, there's lots of things you can put with it, like I said earlier. One other thing I did want to mention. We put cranberries in this. If you're looking for a almost carb-free snack, you may want to leave those cranberries out. Craisins are sweetened, so they do have some carbs. When I was making these and using them for my low-carb diet, I did not put the cranberries in them. But, you know, right now, they're good in there. So, all right, let's try one of these. Do you want apple jelly or mint?
I'll go with the apple.
Apple, okay. So we'll just dip it in there. Yum.
I'm getting the first bite.
You are. I'll do apple too since I've already dipped it in there. It's okay to double dip. Because it's just you and me.
That's right, babe.
Yum.
Those are good.
Delicious. Again, I know these are not traditional sausage balls. These are my version of sausage balls. And I would consider them real sausage balls because they're not full of fillers.
They're not dry either.
No, they're
That's
really
one of the
good.
things I like about them.
Really good and moist. So, don't overbake them. If you overbake them, they're going to get hard and dry. All right. Thank you so much for watching our videos. I got to swallow this. If you would, please go down and click the thumbs up. That just gives us a like. And the more people that like our videos, the more they get posted and put onto other people's feeds. Also, if you've not done it before, please click this subscribe button and the little notification bell beside of it that just subscribes you to our channel so you'll get to see our videos every time we post one. And we've had several people that have posted messages to us and said that they had shared our videos on their own pages, on their Facebook page, or sent it to friends. That helps us get the word out. So we really do appreciate when you do that. And, of course, remember that under this video, in the description box, you can click the word Show More, and it will expand the box, and Melissa will put the written recipe there for you so you can copy and paste, whatever you want to do. There was something else I was going to say. Well, we also thank you for your kind comments. A lot of you are leaving really sweet comments for us, and we do appreciate that. And remember, we hope you have a wonderful new year, and you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Happy New Year, everyone.